Hi, everyone. I'm Joe Swartz from American Hydroponics. Thanks for joining our webinar today. Today, we're going to talk about pH and the importance of properly managing our pH in our nutrient solution. As hydroponic growers, we want to maximize our quality and our yield using every tool that we have available. And the proper management of our nutrient solution and the adjustment and management of pH is very, very important in that. So we'll talk about that. Before we get to that, though, we'd like to talk about a deal that we've got going on right now. You should see on your screen. It's a deal for basically 25% off of all of our dry nutrients when you order them online. On your screen, you'll have the code. Please go to shop.mhydro.com and use the product code that you see. And that is valid through August 16th. And so feel free to do that. And as well, while we're talking, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to type them in and we will try to address them as we go through at the end of the webinar. And if not, we'll try to address them via email. So please feel free to send us some questions while we talk. So basically what we're going to talk about today is the importance of pH. And pH is really one of those things that's kind of very, very simple and basic, but it's sometimes overlooked and we don't always properly manage it. And that can have some very serious consequences. So what is pH? It's called potential of hydrogen. It's basically a numerical value of the hydrogen ions in a nutrient solution or a water solution. And it indicates, if you remember back to your 7th grade science class, whether something is acidic or alkaline. So again, 7 is a numerical value for what is considered to be pH neutral. And anything above that on the scale, up to 14, is alkaline. And this could be things like milk, baking soda. And anything below 7, of course, is acidic, things like vinegar, lemon juice, things like that. So basically the acidity or alkalinity of a solution has some pretty serious impacts on your crop growth. And the reason being is that it affects how nutrients are available in your nutrient solution. So basically it's almost like a key for a lock, whereas you could have a nutrient solution that has all of the proper nutrients available or in the nutrient solution. But if the pH is not within a certain range, a lot of those nutrients can be unavailable and we can have nutritional deficiencies or toxicities because the pH is not in the proper range. Now, for every crop and every situation, there may be certain adjustments that we need to make, but by and large, a pH in the range of 5.5 to 6 is what we commonly use in commercial hydroponics, and that is what allows us the best availability of nutrients in a nutrient solution. So basically, when we are looking at your particular application or a specific farming application, we have to test the source water. We have to know, of course, basically what is in that source water, and the basic pH of that source water is an important consideration. So if the pH of the source water is significantly different than the range that we need, we'll need to make some adjustments accordingly. Also, there are certain ions in the nutrient solution that can also impact your pH adjustment. For example, bicarbonates are something that we commonly see in source water, especially if your source is well water. We can see higher levels of bicarbonates. And bicarbonates, as in of themselves, what they do is they can affect not only the pH, but your ability to control the pH. So for example, if you have a high level of bicarbonates in your water, that adds some buffering capacity. So you will in time need to use more and more acid to keep your pH low. So that's really important, and that's why we have to look at your source water before we start to understand what's in it and how that may affect our nutrient solution. Whether your water is municipal water or well water, most of these applications work very, very well for hydroponics, but in some cases, we may need to make some adjustments or do some type of water treatment. In extreme cases, some type of filtration or reverse osmosis treatment may be necessary, but by and large, I would say probably in about 95% of the cases, that's not necessary. But it's really important to know ahead of time. So once we take a look at your source water, we then can make determinations what we want to do about the pH, if anything, what we need to do to treat the water, and then how we go about making a nutrient solution that's appropriate for your particular crops. And that's all pretty straightforward, but the more information we have at the beginning, the better. So basically, if you're just starting out or you're starting with a new source water, it's really, really important to have the water tested. Send it to us. We can analyze it. We can take a look at what we need to do and come up with an action plan specific to your application. So one of the things that we always want to do when we start to make up that nutrient solution is make sure, again, that the pH is in the proper range. And I would say probably 80% of the time, the water is too alkaline for that pH range that we want. So we need to add some type of acid to lower the pH to the proper range. We commonly use materials like this. This is a pH down. This is a food grade phosphoric acid. It's very, very simple and straightforward. You can add a certain amount to lower your pH of your nutrient solution. On the outside chance that your pH is too low and we need to raise it, we can use a material like this, which is potassium hydroxide, which will then raise the pH of your nutrient solution. Once we do that, we start making adjustments. So how do we tell where our nutrient solution is at in terms of pH and nutrient? We have several different handheld meters that we can use to adjust. This is a very, very common, this is a Hanagroline, and this is a very, very simple unit, and it can test the pH and the electrical conductivity or the strength of your nutrient solution. Most growers, small scale growers, tend to use this not only to test their solution, but then to make adjustments. So if you test your nutrient solution and you find you need to lower the pH, you can then manually add some of your acid and make adjustments that way. It's a very simple, very straightforward, very easy way to do it. Has some advantages, of course, in terms of cost and simplicity, has some drawbacks. And so what we recommend with any commercial scale production is the use of automated dosing equipment. So what we see here is this is a very simple dose controller. This is for recirculating hydroponic systems. It's very, very standard and basic. So what we basically do is have what's called the sample pot, and nutrient solution is constantly flowing through this. And we have a probe that tests the electrical conductivity and one that tests the pH of the solution in real time, constantly 24 hours a day. And that information is then sent to the controller. This is what's called an auto grow, and it is basically designed to, you can input in what you want your nutrient concentration to be. You can tell it what you want your pH to do, and it will make adjustments accordingly. So what it will do then, based on those inputs and based on the information that it's receiving from the sample pot, it will go ahead and it will operate simple peristaltic pumps. That these three pumps basically will add nutrients, and then it will add acid or base to raise or lower your nutrient solution. It's very, very simple, very straightforward, and what it does is it takes away from you the requirement and the responsibility of testing your nutrient solution on a constant basis. For many, many years, I've been a grower for over 30 years. What I had done for a very long time is I had tested my nutrient solution for electrical conductivity and pH by hand and made adjustments by hand. I would usually do that 1 or 2 times a day. I felt that that was adequate, and usually by the end of the day or by into the next day, the pH would start to go out of the range and the electrical conductivity may need some adjustment. And I didn't think that that really meant a whole lot. And what I had found when I had switched over to the automatic dosing, and I still tested manually because I wanted to make sure I knew what was really going on. But when I went to the automatic dosing, what I found was it made the EC and the pH of the nutrient solution very, very constant and very, very consistent. And after several crop cycles and looking at my production records, what I found out is that we shaved almost a full week off of our production time. And basically all we did was we took away that inconsistency in the pH. We used automated dosing and the pH was much more consistent. I didn't think there would be significant consequences to that, but in fact, we actually were keeping our plants and taking longer in production. As you probably know, if you can shave 5 days or 7 days off of your production time, that can have a very significant impact on your bottom line. So this type of dosing equipment, which is pretty simple, generally pays for itself very, very quickly. It's definitely a savings in labor, but in terms of your overall crop quality and your overall yields can dramatically make a very, very big difference. So it's definitely something for even small scale commercial growers that I would suggest that we use. So one of the things that we want to make sure we do is that we in a controlled environment ag setting is that we monitor all of the parameters for crop growth and we maximize them. And using our nutrient solution management is one of the best tools for doing that. And pH adjustment and pH management is a very, very important part of that. It seems pretty basic, and it generally is, but it's also critically important. So it's important to stay on top of that and keep an eye on your pH at all times. So I hope that makes sense to you, and I hope that you understand now the importance of that very, very simple adjustment in our pH. If you have questions, please feel free. You can send in questions to info@amhydro.com. And we also, again, have our deal of the month, which hopefully a lot of you can take advantage of. It's 25% off the dry nutrients when you order them online. And we also have a webinar coming. We'll be doing a webinar right here in 1 month on Thursday, August 16th. We're going to be talking about the AmHydro way, helping our customers. And basically what this is that when customers come to us, we are all on staff at AmHydro. We're all commercial growers. And so we understand what it takes from start to finish to put together a successful growing operation. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk at length about what we do when you come to us and how we make decisions as to helping you to decide what type of system to use, what even maybe crops to grow, and how to manage them properly. So it's kind of a big overview of what you get when you come to talk with us. So hopefully you'll be able to join us from there. Apparently we have a question or two, so we have a few minutes to take a question.
Jonah wrote in and he says, I just ordered a water test kit and we'll test our potential site before we commit to it. I assume you will send a sample to a lab and then analyze the results and develop a specific plan?
Yes, Jonah, that's exactly what we do. What we do is we take your water sample and we work with a number of labs here across North America, and we will send that away, and the water solution will be analyzed. And then what we will do is we will make specific recommendations. We'll contact you, talk to you about your particular situation, your geographic location, your sun exposure, your growing system, all those different variables, and we'll help you develop a nutritional and growing plan based on what those water analyses tell us.
Thanks, Joe. We have one more question from Betty. She says, how often do you calibrate your pH meters?
Excellent question, Betty. Unfortunately, calibration of the meters, while it's very, very simple, a lot of growers neglect to do it. And if the calibration, this being a mechanical device, does sometimes get out of calibration. So I would say every month is probably a good time to calibrate your equipment. If you have historically had any issues with your equipment, maybe every few weeks, but basically once a month to every 2 months is a good interval with calibrating your equipment. The adjustments that you make are only as good as the equipment that you're using to monitor that. So that's really important. So thanks for that question, Betty.
One more, Joe.
Okay.
From Zach, he says, what are some of the effects that you could see on your plants if your pH is out of balance?
Excellent. Okay, Zach. So as I had said earlier, that what the pH does is it can affect the availability of certain nutrients. So if your pH is out of range, what may happen is you may start to see nutritional deficiencies, sometimes nutritional toxicities, but usually nutritional deficiencies. And there are certain visual symptoms that are specific to certain elements. So for example, if you are, your nutrient solution or your plants are becoming deficient in the element magnesium, the older leaves will start to turn yellow, but the veins will still stay dark green. That's a classic symptom. It's called interveinal chlorosis. And similar symptoms on the young, newer growing leaves are symptoms of a deficiency in the element iron. So what may look like a magnesium deficiency, if it's on the newer leaves, that can be a deficiency of iron. And iron is probably one of the most common elements affected by a pH that's too high. So basically, if you start to see symptoms on your plants that you can't identify, there are a lot of online resources, but please feel free to contact us. And I always encourage people to send me photographs. People try to describe symptoms, and what you may see on your plants might look different to me. So if you send me a photograph of some of the symptoms on your plants, usually we can kind of take a quick look and say, oh yeah, that's what this is. So when the pH is out of line, if you're not testing, you won't know until your plants start to tell you. And in some cases, that's when your crop growth is already negatively affected. So keep your eyes on your equipment, but also keep your eyes on your plants. And if you start to see something, please feel free to let us know.
Great, Joe. And last question from Andrea. She says, what was the brand of the small pH meter you have there?
Oh, this is a Hanna. It's a grow line. And Hanna Instruments makes a whole line of very, very effective meters, very, very simple. And some of the things that I like the most about these, in a greenhouse environment, they're very, very durable. You can drop them, and they are also generally waterproof. And I can tell you from bitter experience, I have dropped many of them in nutrient tanks over the years. So looking at something with a good track record of success and durability is important, and the Hanometers definitely will do that. So thank you again. Look forward to seeing you next month on August 16th. If you have questions, please feel free to let us know. Thanks again. Have a great day.